this evening. Let's have the two members, well, indicate that there are five of us here that are present in person. We have two members that are present by Zoom. We need a reason for your absence. I know, Mr. Moran, you said you have COVID.
Yes,
All right, and then Mr. Geron, where are you?
I had business travel and wasn't able to make it in there on time.
Okay, could I ask for a motion to allow the two members to appear by Zoom?
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Murphy, seconded by Mr. Ketter. All in favor? No, any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is granted. We have no minutes to approve. We have two cases on the agenda this evening. The first is the Dr. Smoke case, which is requested to be continued to December 19th. I have a motion to accept that request for continuance.
So
motion,
Mr. Moran makes the motion to continue, seconded by Mr. Ketter. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
aye,
carries, and the matter will be continued to 6 o'clock on December 19th in room 3500B. Now, I'll go to our next case, which is 24075, the motion's down cremation. This is a request for conditional use for a funeral home with cremation services in the R4 district. The matter was published in the Daily Herald on Thursday, December 12th. Petition's been circulated to the various departments of the county and neighboring municipalities, other authorities. I have objections filed by the health department. I have objections filed by the village of Bensonville, District 2 School District, and School District 100. Our rules are that we will go till as long as 8 o'clock this evening. I'm going to take the petitioner's statement first. Then we'll have perhaps some questions from the members of the zoning board, and then we'll go to public comment. We won't make a decision tonight. If we do conclude the hearing, we won't make a decision tonight, but we'll defer the matter for consideration of our recommendation meeting. So with that, may I ask Mr. White to stand? First matter of business is for you and all your witnesses to be sworn in, sir. So could I ask the court reporter to swear you in, all your witnesses?
Would you raise your right hands, please? You do solemnly swear or affirm that testimony about to give at this cause and out hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Okay, we'll note that there were 6 witnesses sworn in. We'll introduce them as, I don't know if they're all going to testify or answer questions, but
They're here to answer questions, so I was going to do a proper testimony.
Oh, that's-
with the witnesses.
yeah, that's perfect. In fact, we often invite them. So exhibits.
I do have 5 exhibits. Exhibit 1 is the survey. Exhibit 2 is the site plan. Exhibit 3 is the owner's consent. The one originally submitted was a copy of the contract that had the consent in it, but I've got a signed copy now from the owners. Exhibit 4 is a cremation environmental analysis by Cremation Systems. And exhibit 5 is an amended brief in support of the application for conditional use.
Okay, we'll accept all of those exhibits.
I also have other boards that I may or may not use, depending on questions. So,
Okay,
if appropriate, I'll include those.
So far.
give the originals to Jessica and I'll take these. Assuming they're all marked, I guess you said. Where's my phone?
I said,
Okay.
Or two.
Oh, yeah. I can move
speak
that.
real loud, Mr. Smith, into the microphone. That'd be great. Speak real loud into the microphone. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is James White. I'm an attorney. I office at 160 South Municipal Drive in Sugar Grove, Illinois. I represent Mokstam Cremation Inc. It's an Illinois not-for-profit company. I will be making a proffer of testimony and confirming accuracy with the witnesses who have been sworn in. I presented the exhibits. Mokstam is respectfully requesting a conditional use to allow the development of a funeral home with ancillary cremation services on the property, which is commonly known as 5N047 Route 83 in unincorporated DuPage County, Bensonville, Illinois. Mokstam is the contract purchaser of the property. Property is approximately 4.5 acres, presently zoned R4 Single Family Residence District in the county of DuPage. Currently, there is a dilapidated, vacant split-level brick and frame building on the property. It's bounded on the north by Park District property, Water Park, and on the east and south by school uses. On the west is Illinois Route 83 and residential both in county and in Bensonville. The R4 Single Family Residence District allows as a conditional use a funeral home. States funeral home is conditional use where the subject property is located adjacent to a non-residential zoning business district boundary line, or the subject property has frontage on at least a minor arterial roadway. Furthermore, all vehicles related to the operation of the funeral home shall be parked or stored in a completely enclosed building. Subject property certainly has frontage on at least a minor arterial street. Specifically, it's Illinois Route 83, which is a 4-lane major arterial roadway. Funeral home would not be operating its own vehicles, and therefore having an enclosed building for parking and storage is not necessary. The Illinois Supreme Court says that if a use is designated as a conditional use in a zoning district, that is a legislative determination that such use is in harmony with the general zoning plan and will not adversely affect the neighborhood. Case for that is City of Chicago Heights versus Living Word Outreach Full Gospel Church of Ministries, otherwise known as the Living Word case. Living Word case states that an application for a conditional use permit may not be denied on the grounds that the use is not in harmony with the surrounding neighborhood. It goes on to say that the appropriate standard is whether the use would have an adverse effect and therefore should be denied only where there are facts and circumstances that show that the particular use proposed here, a funeral home, at the particular location proposed here on Route 83 would have any adverse effects above and beyond those inherently associated with a funeral home, irrespective of its location in the R4 Single Family District in DuPage County. So in other words, you must find that this particular funeral home in this particular location must have unique and unusual adverse impacts not found with any other funeral homes within the county. As shown by the proposed site plan, the funeral home would only have access from Route 83, a major arterial street. The vast majority of funeral services would be during off-peak traffic hours and school hours, such as nights and weekends. Likewise, the vast majority of funeral services would end with the cremation of the body, eliminating traffic impacts caused by funeral processions to churches or cemeteries. Thus, there are actually fewer traffic impacts relating to the subject property than other funeral homes would have within any other residential district. Subject property has wetlands on the north and east sides, which will be rehabilitated and enhanced, creating an even greater buffer area to the north, east, and south. There's no access to the property from the recreation area on the north or the educational uses on the south and east. They would have to go through wetlands and they can't. As proposed, there are no unique or unusual impacts to the surrounding properties, as there are no points of access to them from the subject property. Development of the subject property as proposed would also cure a long-standing violation with the DuPage County stormwater people that currently exists on the subject property from the current owner. I'm now going to go through the elements of the conditional use. The first one being, will it impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property? The proposed funeral home will be developed in compliance with the bulk regulations of the R4 Single Family Residence District relative to setbacks, heights, open space, and stormwater detention. The cremation process itself results in no smoke, no smell, and no noise. Section 37-1005.3 of the DuPage County zoning ordinance regarding particulate matter emissions would allow up to 4.5 pounds of particulate matter emissions per hour from this property. Cremation furnaces that are proposed have particulate matters of only 0.03 of a pound per hour. So that's significantly less than that allowed by ordinance or state law. Proposed funeral home will have no adverse impact on the adequate supply of light and air. Second standard is whether there would be an increase in hazard from fire or other dangers to the property. The proposed funeral home will comply with all DuPage codes relative to building, particulate matter, as well as the fire protection district. Inside and outside turning radii are shown on the site plan and conform to fire department standards. The fire lane is the appropriate distance from the building as required by the fire district. Building will have a sprinkler system, fire alarm system, and an enhanced well to allow for greater fire flow. The redevelopment of the property will result in a newer building in compliance with current fire codes, thereby decreasing the hazard from fire or other dangers that currently exists on the property. The third standard is whether it will diminish the value of land and buildings in the vicinity of the proposed conditional use. The value of school district and park district property is certainly dependent on the quality of the education and the programs that they provide. The proposed funeral home will replace an older vacant building with an entirely new, architecturally beautiful building. The proposed building will have no unusual adverse impact on the value of surrounding recreational, educational, and residential uses, as well as will be aesthetically pleasing. As part of the wetlands rehabilitation, additional landscaping will be added to the north, east, and south of the property, creating an even greater buffer than currently exists. The next standard is whether it would unduly increase traffic congestion in the public streets and highways. Property is located on the east side of Illinois Route 83, a 4-lane roadway. The proposed entrance to the subject property is across from Deer Path Road, which is up at the top, and will use an existing curb cut, which has an existing dedicated left turn lane for southbound traffic. We would use the existing driveway entrance, so there would be no change in that regard. The existing roadway configuration provides sufficient access to the subject property without unduly increasing traffic congestion on Route 83. As previously stated, the vast majority of funeral services will be during off-peak traffic hours, such as nights and weekends. Likewise, vast majority of funeral services would end with the cremation of the body, eliminating traffic impacts caused by funeral processions to churches or cemeteries. Thus, there are actually fewer traffic impacts related to the subject property as stated. The next standard is whether there'll be an increased, whether it will increase the potential for flood damages to adjacent property. Subject property will comply with the DuPage County Code relative to stormwater and will correct an existing stormwater violation, as I stated. The next standard is whether it will incur additional public expense for fire protection, rescue, or relief. The proposed funeral home will comply with all DuPage County codes relative to building, particulates, as well as the fire protection district. There's nothing unique about the property that would cause the fire protection district to need to acquire additional equipment. The building will have a sprinkler system and a fire alarm system. Again, it'll have an enhanced well to help with fire suppression. All improvements would be privately owned, and any fire protection, rescue, or relief would not entail any additional public expense. Final standard is whether it would otherwise impair the public health, safety, comfort, morals, or general welfare of the inhabitants of DuPage County, nor will it create a nuisance. The proposed conditional use will generally be consistent with similar funeral homes within DuPage County. It shall comply with all DuPage County ordinances relative to public health, safety, comfort, morals, and general welfare of the inhabitants of DuPage County. Under Illinois law, as set forth in a living word case above, DuPage County has already legislatively determined that a funeral home in the R4 residential district is in harmony with the general zoning plan of DuPage County and will not adversely affect the neighborhood. So I submit to you that there are no facts or circumstances which exist to support a conclusion that this funeral home in this location adversely impacts the surrounding neighborhood. But there's many positive impacts. Although the funeral home is funded by the Hindi community, it's a not-for-profit. Moxtown would not discriminate, but would be open to all with full dignity for the dearly departed. There would be no smell, no smoke, and no noise from the cremation process. There would be no real impact on traffic due to the normal timing of services during non-peak traffic hours and very few funeral processions to impact traffic. There's no access to the property through adjoining properties because wetlands traverse the property. Tree coverage from the northeast and south create natural buffers which will be enhanced by the wetland rehabilitation. And the current dilapidated condition of the property will be transformed into a first-class funeral home in compliance with all laws and ordinances. Practically and legally speaking, the location complies with the DuPage County zoning ordinance for the approval of a conditional use. It should be approved. Dr. Patel, just step up. Dr. Patel, did I accurately state the facts as you know them to be?
Yes, that's correct.
Is there anything that you would add?
You got everything.
Excuse me, can you speak into the microphone? Into the microphone.
Is there anything else right there?
No, he has explained everything in detail. And this is the right situation, or it should not.
Mr. Barani?
As you introduce the witnesses, would you tell us what their particular expertise is or what their
Yes.
function is?
So Dr. Patel is going to be the head of the dam operation itself. Mr. Varani is the design consultant architect. Mr. Varani, did I accurately state the facts as you know them to be?
Quite true, absolutely. I'm happy that the presentation was right down to the mark, because every issue that we tried to tackle in this situation has been explained clearly. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson with Christopher Burke Engineering with regard to wetland mitigation. Mr. Anderson, did I accurately state the facts as you know them to be?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything you would like to add?
Not at this time.
Thank you.
Could I interrupt just to ask if the mitigation is going to occur on site or off site? Wetland mitigation.
So we're gonna enhance the existing wetlands, so that's roughly a half an acre. They were damaged by the previous landowner, so we're gonna restore them to their, we're actually gonna make them to a higher level of forested quality than they were originally. There'll be additional native plantings in the buffer areas. If you've gone by the site recently, you'll know it's been mowed the last 10 years or so in the buffer area. The buffer area will be restored back to native prairie. So we'll have pollinator species, things like that. There'll be additional native plantings added elsewhere on the perimeter of the site and to the northeast corner of the property, which is also mowed by the neighbors. That'll be converted to native plantings as well.
Thank you.
Michael Mondas from Spaceco, civil engineer. Mr. Mondas, did I accurately state the facts as you know them to be?
You did,
Is there anything else you would like to add?
not at this time.
Mr. Frank Demis from Christopher Berg Engineering, the traffic consultant. Mr. Nemes, did I accurately state the facts as you know them to be?
I would only add one minor thing. Illinois 83 is 6 lanes, 3 lanes in each direction.
Thank you. Anything?
Otherwise, all the other facts listed were correct.
And was there a written traffic report, traffic study report?
No. When we spoke with, and you can confirm this, when we spoke with,
I just wanted to know if there was,
Okay.
and I'm not asking for one.
thank you. And, Mr. Jacob Parduen, he's with Cremation Systems, the, equipment supplier. Mr. Parduen, did I accurately state the facts as you know them to be?
Yes, sir.
Anything that you would like to add?
Not this time. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have about the equipment as well.
Okay, with that, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board.
Okay, how do you determine? Well, has your organization operated funeral homes previously?
Dr. Patel?
No,
How do you make the determination that there will be minimal impact on traffic because the great majority of funerals will include cremation rather than a funeral procession to a graveyard? How do you make that determination?
first of all, the traffic not gonna be affected secondary to because the funeral will be on Saturday and Sunday. Most of the funeral cremation will be on Saturday and Sunday. That's one thing. That's gonna be in off hours, so there is no other traffic, which is like in 9 to 11 and 4 to 7, which are the busy hours. The most of the cremation funeral will be during off hours, peak, not peak hours. Hardly there will maybe a 1 or 2 funerals, maybe during the day, weekdays, and that probably generally it's take place between 11 and 4. So that also will not be during the peak hours.
On what basis do you make these conclusions?
Because here there are so many funeral homes and we go in my community, I attend the funerals. And this is what I have seen all like last 55 years.
Okay. And I don't think you answered the percentage or the number of funerals that result in cremations rather than burials.
As far as my community is concerned, there is 100%. But and nowadays the cremation has gone up. It was in 2003, it was only kind of an 10 to 15%, which has now climbed almost up to 38 to 48%. According to Chicago Tribune, there was an article in 2003 and 7. And they say that funeral, even in Catholics, is going up.
Okay. The site plan shows some pretty extensive landscaping trees, actually. Are these all existing?
All right. Mr. Varani, the design architect.
Are you familiar with what I'm talking about here? Well, it's right up there as well.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if you see the site plan, if you see the site, there is a. You see this side? That's the red dot. You see on the tree cover over now? That's exactly what it is.
Okay, so that's what's depicted on
Yeah.
this. All
We're
right,
also gonna be adding additional.
Oh, yes, as Mr. Jed Anderson has stated, we will be adding because we'll be enhancing the mitigation, will take care of this wastewater more.
yeah, okay. Are there any questions from any of the members of the board?
Yeah, I have a couple.
I do have one.
Oh. Hold on, Dennis, I'll come to you next.
Okay.
All right, my first question is, we get this a lot. You made the statement it won't affect land values. I didn't see that you qualified yourself as an expert in that, and I'm just, everybody can answer yes or no. That bothered me. The absence of a traffic study bothers me. Your presentation said that most, if not all, end with the cremations, without a funeral service and without a procession. Now we're hearing 15 to 38%. What is the bottom line on this? And the other thing, without the traffic study, it just doesn't, you make a statement that there won't be an impact in effect days a week. Well, I think those are the things that bother me from a presentation.
Okay, let me try to answer those questions then. What I testified to, or what Dr. Patel testified to, was that all of the funerals in his community result in a cremation in the Hindu community. This will also be open though to anybody. So there could be some funerals that would have a procession. However, so the funerals that they have, let me grab a board and be board your master with them. This is the second floor plan of the funeral home. It has a place for the body for viewing, and it has capacity for 300 people. So they have their funeral. At the end of that funeral, the body is actually lowered down to the first floor where the cremation units are, and they cremated as part of their normal Hindu rituals. So the non-Hindu funerals, the numbers that he was speaking of percentage-wise relates to the entire population. Anybody. Whereas with the Hindu ritual funerals, they all ended in cremation. So that's why the disparity in the numbers that you heard. Now, I did not say that there would not be funerals. I only said that for this community, there would not be the processions. They still hold a funeral. Still have the people
Now,
come.
I understood that. My question was, you said that all these end with cremation, and then the testimony went on to be that all funerals that had a procession would probably be mostly on the weekend. That doesn't balance with me.
Okay, that's I'm
Do
sorry.
you agree that's a conflict or?
Well, I don't think that was the testimony, but if
If you're gonna make the exception, I'll have it read back. That was the testimony I heard. Correct me where I'm wrong.
so the Hindu funerals end with. Right? Yeah, the Hindu funerals do not have a procession. And so those do end with the cremation.
All right, then how many do you anticipate a year overall?
That would have a procession or all together.
Well, do you have anything you can draw on and experience of how many you expect this funeral home to have per year?
On an average, about per month, about per week, there are 2 to 4 funerals. That is generally at 7. Generally, Saturday and Sunday is the main funeral I have seen in my community. So if you take that, probably is about multiplying by the 4, that's per month, and by 12 is on an average funerals.
How many of those do you anticipate, based on your experience, will be
Then whoever comes in, and as per the numbers I gave you, that it is increasing, that is in the Catholics. That is the general public I'm talking about. Because what this particular project where we will not say no to anybody else who wants to do the funeral. Except the non-Hindus. This is not only that Hindus will be doing that funeral there. Definitely we will be doing our cremation. There is no process or nothing there. But if some other community comes in and they want to utilize the facility, we will be more than happy to let them. And there were the numbers I gave you about the Chicago Tribune and the Cremation Society of North America.
ones that would come in that are non-your religion? Would that be purely for cremation service?
When they want to do the cremation, yes. It's because in Catholics, it is going up. The cremation has gone up, number of cremation. So now they are looking for a place for the cremation center. And if they approach us for any reason that they want to use our facility and it's available, it is available for that. So this is not just an Hindu, that is what we restricting to. And that's why I gave you the number. The number I gave you was from the other community.
So there's no service, they're just gonna utilize.
There is no service.
You prohibit them from having a service there?
We cannot. But mostly we will explain them that we don't have any service here. If this isn't crematory, we can utilize it and use it. But we cannot promise that we will not stop, we will stop them, no. But we can explain it.
That if you divided it, how much will be purely cremation, and how much will be cremation with ceremonies?
Probably 95% or more is the cremation only.
So let's just try to sync those numbers. You estimate that there will be approximately 200 a year. And 95% of those would be cremation only, or it's 200 plus an additional number for cremation only.
The numbers I gave you for our community are all 100% cremation only, 100%.
Okay,
Because in our there is no process and there is nothing else. But when the other community comes and approach us to utilize our cremation, then they may have procedures and we cannot stop them totally,
yeah, okay,
but we will tell them that this is what the situation.
okay.
I think the question, Doctor, is you said approximately 200 a year, is that the funeral service with a cremation at the end, or is that just all cremations? Okay, and how many do you anticipate would be within your community having a funeral service and cremation at the end?
In our community, we don't have any funeral services. We have a cremation. Yes, there is some rituals that we perform, but there is no process and there is nothing like that. Everybody comes in and they do also, and this is a unique situation where everybody can see the rituals. At this moment, we are utilizing the other facilities around us. The unfortunate part is that everybody cannot see what is going on because it's like straight like this. This is a unique facility where everybody, like in Colosseum, everybody will be able to observe the rituals, which is most important in our community.
Okay, let's just understand one more little detail. Maybe everyone does but me. In the cremation only, no service, funeral or whatever, are there people who attend and sit in this balcony area to observe?
Yes.
Okay. So it doesn't make any difference if there's a service or not, there's still people and traffic.
Well, our definition, I guess, of what we're used to with a funeral and a service is not the same as what they do.
Understood.
I think that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, okay. Well, I assumed that, but I was a little confused by no service. I thought that indicated no people. Mr. Moran, you want to ask your question now?
I do. I'm looking at this plat of survey or this site plan. And I'm seeing well over 100 parking spaces. You said you can handle 300 people on the second floor. On Route 83 right there, I usually do about 60 miles an hour. I don't see a deceleration lane or an acceleration lane. And if anybody tries to take a left-hand turn out of your site and try to go south on 83, something's gonna happen. That I think there should be a traffic study, or at least find out how to get in and out of that spot, because I wouldn't let anybody turn left there. So, and you have nothing shown there.
So I actually have, just across from the entrance is, the entrance to the subdivision to the, west. And they have, the same access. They have a left turn into their subdivision, and then they have a left turn or a right turn in or out of their subdivision. So it's the exact same situation as exists across the street.
Yeah, but that's a light. There's a stop and go light there.
No, it's not. It's just simply a stop sign on the.
Is that
I
a
think
double call line
Barry, wait.
solid at 83 where you couldn't?
Barry, wait. Go ahead, Mr. Moran.
I'm still a little concerned about it.
Okay, anything else? And you, Mr. Ketter, you wanted to ask a question about it?
This property was before us on something else. You're not across from any major entrance. Isn't this a solid line so you couldn't turn left going out of there to cross 83?
No, there's a open median. There's a left turn in from the north, and the subdivision across the street has a left turn in from, or left turn. That's the entrance to the subdivision across the street. There is a deceleration and left turn lane going south, and a deceleration and left turn lane going north. So this subdivision accesses 83 right across where we are proposing the entrance, for the existing entrance for the property that's already there.
Up on that, man?
No, it's not. North just happens to be that way. The best plans, right? So here's the access point here. And it is divided, but it does have an opening in the median there. That's already existing.
So can we take that as your next exhibit, your board?
If you would like, yeah, this would be exhibit 6.
Right. It's the aerial photo of the area.
I'll mark that on the margin here, so.
Okay, any other questions from the board? All right, I know that I have a couple of municipalities here that want to make, I presume you want to make statements, so I'll take your statements first. You're with Bensonville? Is Addison here? No?
That's here.
Oh, Fountain? Yeah, right, and your district 100?
Yes.
Who's district 2? Okay, I'm gonna take you 3 folks first. I mean, I don't know, they're gonna have 1 speaker or 2.
You can start off with Dave if I can go off the way.
Okay, so why don't you step up? So indicate your name, spell your name, and for any members of the audience, you'll have to give your address, but for the municipality, just give your, indicate your business. The time limit for remarks are 3 minutes. And when we get to the audience, if there are a number of people that want to make statements, I really don't want to take duplicative statements, one after another. So I'll go over the rules when we get to that point, but would you go ahead, sir?
Wait, would you raise your right hand to be sworn? You do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give at this cause now hearing The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Good evening. My name is Kevin Quinn, KevinQuinn. I am a village planner with the Village of Bensonville, 12 South Center Street, Bensonville. The village filed an objection protesting this case on December 5th, 2024. We do not believe that a funeral home with a crematorium is the best use for this property, that it does not fit either the surrounding neighborhood character or the several planning documents of multiple levels of government that designate it as single-family residential. The Village of Bensonville's comprehensive plan includes this property as a single-family residential. Moreover, the county's own Route 83 corridor plan developed in 2021 calls this parcel out specifically as residential. The property is surrounded on all sides by residential and institutional uses, with properties owned by local school and park districts. Putting a commercial use in the middle of all this does not fit the character of the area. The DuPage County Code states that funeral homes or the subject property is located to a non-residential zoning district boundary line with the subject property has frontage on at least a minor arterial roadway. While the property does have frontage on at least a minor arterial roadway, it would be inappropriate to place a funeral home crematorium at this property when it is surrounded on all sides by residential zoning districts at both the county and local level. The closest unincorporated property with commercial zoning is almost 2 miles away south of 290. This proposed use is in direct conflict with the county's plans. To approve this conditional use would be to oppose the public who met several times over a year of public meetings and discussions about the future of this area. From a local perspective, if the property were to ever be annexed into the Village of Bensonville in the future, it will be extremely non-conforming. Based on a preliminary review with the available information, it does not meet our parking design standards, our refuse area location standards, our snow storage standards, or our landscaping and landscape island standards. With further information, it is possible that even more aspects of the property would be non-conforming. We respectfully ask that the DuPage County Zoning Board of Appeals respect the citizens of the area represented through the previously mentioned plans and vote to deny the conditional use permit for a funeral home with crematorium at 5N047 Route 83. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anything further from Councilman? Pardon me? All right, you need to be sworn in. Can I ask the school district people to be sworn in at the same time as this witness is sworn in? District 2 as well. No, you
Raise
can
your right
stay
hand.
right there,
Just
right
stay
there.
there.
Just raise your hand.
You do solemnly swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give at this cause and out hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. So Curtis Postgate, Director of Community and Economic Development, Village of Bensonville, KURTISPOZSGAY. Just gonna be brief. I think you guys kind of hit it a little bit with the traffic concerns. This is an unsignalized intersection, 6-lane roadway. Hard to get in and out of here. We just don't believe a commercial use at this site is viable. It just doesn't make sense. We've gone through this before. We had that storage facility that was proposed use here that we fought hard against. It's next to a school. The commercial nature of this site next to, and I think, quite frankly, if parents knew that a crematorium was going in next to the school, I think you'd have even a larger crowd here tonight. It doesn't fit the character of the neighborhood of the area. And realistically, I think your traffic concerns are your biggest concerns, but we haven't seen the traffic study. We haven't seen how this is impacting the wetland. So the previous owners created a critical wetland buffer of 100. It went from 50 to 100. And I'm still not positive that they're solving for that with this development. So I think that's something we looked at pretty hard. DuPage was looking at that previously, and the current owners never solved for that. So just something to pay attention to. But realistically, the biggest thing here is it's traffic. It doesn't fit within the character of the neighborhood, and it's right next to a school. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the District 2 people. Sorry, District 100. No way, I'm not claiming that. They're villages.
Good evening, everyone.
Bruce Martin, BRUCE, I'm the business manager for
I-
Community High School.
I don't think
Get
that's.
a little closer to the mic, please.
Bruce Martin. Good evening, my name is Bruce Martin, BRUCE, from Benton Community High School District 100, and I'm the business manager there. Benton Community High School District 100 is situated in this residential zone, and our students walk and drive past the student property, subject property every day going to and from school. Similarly, we have partner institutions that back up to this subject property, and they utilize our students for daytime internships and after-school activities. We strongly believe the nature of this proposed commercial use strongly. We strongly believe the nature of this proposed commercial use is not appropriate for a residential neighborhood where children are present. You can power it. Thank you. Thank you. We strongly believe the nature of this proposed commercial use is not appropriate for a residential neighborhood where children are present for large amounts of the day. A funeral home with cremation services in such close proximity would be a significant distraction, and we would prefer a land use that further complements the neighborhood's family-based environment. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rick Cambic, RICK, KAMBIC. I'm the Director of Communications and Community Engagement. I wanted to follow up on some of the questions and other comments. We're very excited that this Sunday we have our holiday concert, which means we're going to have several hundred people coming in on a Sunday, which is a weekend. Prior weekend, we had 16 other high schools bringing hundreds of students to our Weiss wrestling competition on a Saturday. And before that, the weekend before, we had 14 high schools for our basketball tournament. So we have a lot of activities that are occurring about 10 to 12 hours Monday through Saturday, and then frequent special events on Sundays. And we do have red light cameras at the intersection due to the high volume of traffic that travels quickly and does not stop at the stoplight. So adding more traffic in the dangerous left turn, I think, would be a significant concern. Thank you.
The other school district.
Dr. Katie McCluskey, Superintendent of Bensonville School District 2. The conditional use request should be denied. The proposed enterprise is not primarily a funeral home under section 37-704.2. A variance, not a conditional use permit, is required. Most businesses providing funeral services do not have on-site cremation equipment. The term funeral home in the code therefore means the traditional combination of embalming services and locations to host funerals and wakes. The term does not include the much less common installation of cremation equipment. Cremation services are the primary goal for this enterprise and the community that petitioners intend to serve. Cremation services are a light industrial use that is not in harmony with R-4 district, even if eligible for a conditional use permit. Thank you.
Let me comment that I've been advised that the DuPage County rules treat funeral homes and cremation centers in the same way. So that's what I've been told. Yep, is that working now? Oh, excellent. All right. Okay, so I'll take comments from members of the audience. Anyone that wants to make a comment, please raise your hand and stand up. Only one person? Two people.
Hear me?
Oh, you? Are you with the petitioner? Okay. Anyone that wants to make a statement, please stand up. This is kind of last call, just like All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I lost count. Yeah, I did. Okay, would you all be sworn in and then kind of line up over here if you would?
Raise your right hands, please. You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give at this cause and out hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Okay, would you line up at the podium? And sir, can I just give you this microphone and you can speak from there? So tell us your name, spell your last name, and then give us your address and tell us whether you support or oppose the petition. And then you have a couple minutes to tell us why. So.
I am Acharya Rohit Joshi, last name Joshi. I am a Hindu priest also, and I do support this Moksha because that will help most of the community lives around the area. I live in Skokie, but our Skokie people also they are looking for this kind of cremation places. We are very short of cremation places. We have to perform all this cremation in the other churches. When we don't find any Hindu atmosphere or something like that. That's why all the Hindus would like to have this program cremation center in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. My name is Danya Rai Prajapati. It's spelled like DAHYABHAI. Last name is Paul RAJAPA Tom I. I am involved with village of Bensonville a long time. 1988, there was a growth church on 101 South Church Street. I was president at that time.
Sir,
we acquired it.
Support or oppose?
So I thought,
are you supporting or opposing?
I'm supporting.
Okay.
And at that time, that closed down Korean church was selling the drug. At that time, village manager Larry Bazar, I have meeting with him and we acquired that church because it was a lot of drug trafficking. Today, if you see that building, because Hindu acquired, we never got any complaint from the village of Bensonville. I am still chairman of the Manas Ramandir, that is a property owned. And we always cooperate with village of Bensonville. Even though at the time of COVID, we were the first community to get the COVID vaccine due to our great effort with our state. And we gave the village people vaccine in those days before anybody get it. So I request village of Bensonville, whoever here, please support us. This is the cremation process we attend. I'm here in this country for 52 years. And we attend. Cremation doesn't bother more traffic or anything. So please, I request honorary board to just help us out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I'm in support of the petition.
We need to know who you are.
My name is Praveen, Praveen, Praveen Medikundam, MEDIKUNDAM. I am an immigration attorney practicing here in Chicagoland for more than 22 years right now. And I know the community very closely. I work with the community very closely. And there's a dire need for us to have a cremation facility which can accommodate our rituals, because as the other gentleman was saying, that it's very difficult for us to carry out these proposals or these ceremonies at makeshift facilities. That's what always we've been doing, and have noticed our community been doing that. Then we need a proper facility where we can have all the ceremonies being done properly, because these are the last rites that we can actually pray and pay for our departed souls. So again, this is a community which really abides by all the laws and we take care of things around. It's not a traffic or anything that we can actually address any of those concerns. If that becomes a major issue if that becomes a hurdle. But we humbly request for the board to approve this.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is Bharavana Jindal, VANDALA. Last name Jindal, JHINGAL. And I support this petition. You will ask me why? Because Hindu community is the most living community all over the globe, not even here in India. When we talk about this, we are only the givers. And when we say we have to go for our last rites, and I've seen the suggestion, I'm surprised to see how the village has come. And how much of the revenue is coming to the village when the temple is coming to the village, that is another thing. The highest taxpayers in the United States of America is the Hindu community, and now we are asking for at least my last journey to happen in the way I want with my ritual. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, usually I try to stop the applause, but can I just assume that we can, calm the applause down because it's just distracting? Maybe just one little clap or two. Next. Okay.
My name is Mahendra Kumar Patel. And
Can you
I am
tell your first name?
MAHENDRAAUMAR. And last name Patel, PATEL. I'm for the supporter. I'm a supporter of the funeral home. Our community, 100% we are doing cremation. Also, hardly you will see any kind of procession on the road while the cremation is being used for the rites for the in-rites. So I don't see any traffic problem when the rites are performed. Also, we follow our rituals, and to follow the rituals, this is a great proposal that we can do our things the way we believe. So we are asking for the support, and I think the village should support us because we are also your highest tax-paying citizens.
Okay, thank you, sir.
My name is Nishandu Bexi, NISHENDU. Last name is Bexi, BAXI. I'm a retired physician. Recently, by the way, I'm in support of the crematorium. Give me a personal experience is that about 8 months ago, my mother-in-law passed away. 2 years ago, my mother passed away. It is very, very difficult to find a funeral home that has on-site crematorium. Very few. I can count by fingers as to how many there are. Many, I can't say many, but some funeral homes do provide cremation services, but they are off-site. So therefore, it is very difficult to get a crematorium or a funeral home that has on-site cremation services. So in Hindu tradition, the children or the closest relatives perform the last sort of cremation service, if you will, so that if it is done off-site, now we are therefore deprived of our right, if you will, as survivors to do the last rites to or last service to our beloved. So therefore, this will allow us to do everything on site without inconveniencing anybody. So I fully absolutely and completely support this building.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next. Good evening, Chairman and Board members. My name is Vishal Patel, VISHAL, last name Patel, PATEL. Mukti Dham, as name suggests, in our language, is a path to a heaven. In our community, we don't have a dedicated crematory place. And when my father passed away, I had a tough time finding it, where there's a crematory on site. This particular proposed building is by design, from spiritual standpoint or artistic standpoint, it is for our community and it's designed such a way that our community would prefer to have a building that designed and spiritually for our community. So I will fully support this cause and I urge board member to support this one too. Thank you.
Thank you. Then our last speaker.
Sir, my name is Jagan Bukkaraju, JAGAN BUKKARAJU. I just want to address briefly the concerns that were raised, and also I'm here in support of the proposal, by the way. The concerns raised was the traffic and also the surrounding neighborhood. With this proposal, we are not asking to increase any parking spaces. So the number of cars that get in will be the same as what is currently there. And also, as one of our earlier speakers mentioned, whenever an Indian community moves in, historically, you can see demographic-wise, the average, the spending rate goes up in the neighborhood, the businesses gets benefited. So from the city point of view, it's a net positive. And the other thing that I wanted to make a point here is, in Chicagoland, there are more than 100,000 Indians. Majority of them are Hindus. And we don't have any one place where these Hindus can go and do their last rites to their religion. After 150 plus years, a great Hindu saint came from India to propagate the universal brotherhood. I think this is about the time that Illinois and city of Chicago and surrounding neighborhood Chicagoland come together and make this happen. I request the zoning board to grant this approval. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. White, you want to wrap up? Any closing remarks?
Yes, thank you.
No further questions from any board member, I trust. All right, then go ahead, sir.
If I could just briefly address the traffic issue. The speed limit on 83 right there is 45. It's not 60. So
I didn't say I knew it was 45, but I said I do 60, and I'm worried about the people who also do. That's all.
Who would admit that? But I don't do defense work. Sorry.
You want that on the record?
So I think that the concern there might be an enforcement issue. We're not asking to annex and be zoned in Bensonville. We are asking the county of DuPage to allow us to develop within 100% within their ordinances. That's what we're asking. And again, I refer to the Living Word case, which says that since DuPage County has legislatively stated that funeral homes in a residential district are appropriate, then you cannot deny it on the basis that it's inappropriate for the area, and that's according to the Living Word case. There has to be specific findings that there are unique adverse impacts to the property. And that was all I have to thank you.
Just, I didn't go over this during your testimony, but I presume you're going to upgrade the well and septic system.
Yeah, so the well will be upgraded, the septic system will be upgraded. Give me 1 second.
Right, that becomes sort of a building code issue. So, as long as the reason I asked that is that in order to comply with Living Word, we would have to find something unique about this property, which would otherwise disqualify it, as you point out. And the well and septic for a significant use like this would be such a circumstance, but for the fact that you're gonna be required to upgrade?
Yeah, so we will be doing a new and enhanced well on the property so that it would serve the property from a fire standpoint as well as having, if required, we put holding tanks in the building for the sprinkler system. Well, the entire septic field is going to be redone. It does need to be bigger to accommodate the people, so we certainly would accept those as conditions. We would, of course, accept photometrics at the time of permit to be a condition. Again, we're going to have to comply with the wetlands rehabilitation and stormwater ordinance. We would be enhancing and improving the septic system. So that's I think
Okay,
those would be conditions we would expect.
thanks. I think we can close the record in this case tonight because there doesn't appear to be any additional information that's required from the petitioner. What is it?
Can I ask?
Well, sure.
You know, I understood everything, and the thing that now troubles me is just one thing. I see the purpose of this is for your religion and that, but the testimony has basically been, there's really no other ones around this that allow this. Does that create the situation where we're saying about 200 a year that you could, if you're drawing from all over the greater Chicagoland or further, you could have an excessively higher amount, and then the traffic becomes an issue or a study would be necessary. Do you have a problem with putting a condition of, I think it was 200 a year on it? Most, you know, and the only reason I ask that, most funeral homes, they draw from their local, a little bit further, but they're somewhat not hitting huge numbers. It seems like we're already beyond most of the number of most of the funeral homes. And if you're drawing with the ones that you don't have in Chicago, you don't have it here, I can see the need for it. I'm going to see that you could draw from probably upper part of Illinois, because if there aren't any, how do you control the number? And then if you have them every day of the week, it becomes a traffic issue. They got to come in and got to leave.
Well, I think the traffic issue, and our traffic consultant can verify this. The traffic issue is alleviated by the fact that they're off hours. They're not during peak hours. So generally at night, 6 to 8, 9, 10, maybe 10 at the latest. And then on the weekends.
But most funeral homes, I don't see we can put a condition on it. Are you saying we can put a condition of hours and days?
I think we would be agreeable to closing by a certain hour, like 10 o'clock. But we would.
We don't do funeral after sunset.
We don't do the funeral in a as a rituals, we don't do the funerals in the evening. After sunset, we don't. So there is no long hours or anything like that. That's why I say that most of the funerals are between 11 and 4, 11 and or 3. Right? Because one funeral is there. So that is also an off hours. And most of the funerals, what we are going and doing at this month is on Saturday and Sunday. Because we look at it there, people are free. They are not at a job, otherwise they have to leave the job and all that stuff. So most of the funerals are on Saturday, Sunday. And if you look at it, if you do 2 funerals and on Sunday and Saturday, then you can automatically come to the total number what funeral could be. I gave you 200 as in just an ballpark figure that this is, I never counted it. And it is not that we all are going to be using from the 50 miles, they're not going to come here and use. There are some funeral homes that we are using at present that will be used anyway. Because if there are 3 people died on Sunday or Saturday and they want a funeral on Sunday, we're not going to be able to do 3. So it is not that whole community, but most of the community, when it is available, they will be able to use it.
Okay, we'll debate these conditions at our recommendation meeting. Are you?
Any other questions? Yes.
No, our questions are done. All right, here's how this matter proceeds from here. Well, the record is closed, so there will be no additional testimony or evidence or information that's included in the record. We'll make our decisions solely based on this record. That will be all debated and conditions imposed as necessary during our recommendation meeting. The date of the, was it January 9th?
Yes.
The recommendation occurs at 5:30 on January 9 in this room. It is a discussion amongst the board members only. I presume we'll be in this room.
I can schedule it. please.
Yeah, I think you should. And then that recommendation goes to the County Development Committee, which will meet later in the month of January. They'll review the full record in the case, make their determination, and pass the matter to the full county board. So this should most likely be resolved by the end of the month of January at county board session, but I don't control that schedule. So January 9, you're free to attend, or you can Zoom in or phone in or whatever you like, because there's no participation from members of the public. Thank you very much, Mr. White. Good presentation. Thanks for reminding us about the living word. I attended a CLE a couple of weeks ago on zoning, and the speaker asked whether there were any questions, and I said, could you speak just a bit about living word? And the speaker said, I'm not familiar with that case. You obviously are. All right, so we'll close for this evening. Thank you very much, folks. Wait a minute, we won't close yet. We'll close the public hearing, but I have a couple of other incidental matters that will take 30 seconds. I'd like to indicate that there's no old business or new business to be considered, so now we are adjourned.